Okay, hi. Going to talk about a couple of things. First of all, things to help you get a claim, and then things which I've been observing during my work. So, when you want to have a claim in, usually it's because you're fed up with making complaints to your landlord, to the council or the housing association. Oftentimes you have multiple issues which are wrong with your flat, and the way in which and the nature in which your landlord handles them is individually, which can be very frustrating because you're there making individual appointments for the things which are wrong with your flat, when really you just want it all done in one fell swoop. Yeah? And that can be very tedious. The other issue is what the solicitors want. Solicitors are looking, because they've got the law, and that law is Section 11, okay, the Landlord and Tenants Act, 1985. And what they want to see is that you've made a complaint to your landlord about the issues at one point. They want to know when you first made the complaint. So, for example, if you made a complaint 5 years ago and they didn't do anything, and you haven't made a complaint since, that sort of goes against you in a way. So they want to know when you first made the complaint, because that's when your compensation amount is ticking, which is a combination between how long you had the issue and how much rent you pay. Secondly, they want to know the last time you made a complaint. Now, sometimes I've met tenants whereby this thing's been ongoing for a number of years, and they make the complaint, and then the council or the housing association say, oh yeah, we're going to come along next week. And so they've said to me, oh, I don't want to progress a claim because the council are going to come next week. But unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, when they do come, a lot of the times is they're going to take a picture and it will get lost. Yeah, or you won't hear anything thereafter. So what you've done is you've delayed a resolution to your problem, because you've put all your trust in this belief that, oh well, I've done something now. What you've ignored is the fact that it's been going on for so long. What's the likelihood that it's going to change? So the thing you need to understand when you're meeting a surveyor like myself is the solicitors want to know when you first claimed, because that's when the clock is ticking, when the last time that you complained. Ordinarily, what the solicitors want to hear is that you made a complaint within the last 3 months and nothing's happened. As long as you've sort of made a complaint in the last few weeks, nothing's happened, maybe you sent an email, maybe it's a telephone, maybe you went down to the housing office, it's hard to verify. But if you say that you're going to meet them next week, then they'll just stop it, and you're just going to have to wait until they've actually come round, and then whatever they do, they're going to do. Yeah. So you could literally extend the time between you getting a resolution. So when the surveyor comes and they ask you, when did you first make a complaint? You say the beginning of when you first made the complaint. When I say when you last made a complaint, I think provided that you made a complaint within the last 3 months, that's fine. Obviously, they don't want to hear that you have an ongoing dispute and you're using another solicitor, because then they definitely can't get involved. For obvious reasons, you have aligned yourself with one solicitor. You can't have two operating at the same time. So they will ask that question. Another question, which will be a reason why they won't take you on, is if you have rent arrears. Now, I had a really, really sort of sad situation where I went to a tenant's house and there was literally water dropping from the ceiling, and she'd been having issues, very bad issues, for over like 3 years. And it was like, we're going to get this. The amount of conversations she would have got would be crazy. The amount of work what I needed to do was quite a lot. However, she'd done the biggest mistake ever. She turned round to her landlord and said, I'm not paying any rent until you sort this out. And therefore, she accumulated massive rent arrears. No solicitor will take you on if you've got massive rent arrears. Usually, the amount is around, say, £800. So it's a little bit higher than that. Yeah. If you've not been paying your rent, and sometimes you get a situation where maybe you might be on housing benefit and there's been some there's been a big delay. I wouldn't worry about that too much. I'd say there's no rent arrears because you're going to sort it out with 1,000 people. Okay? But if you've got rent arrears over £800, or let's say 2 months rent, solicitors don't want to take you on. Oftentimes it's because they feel that any compensation you're going to get is going to be absorbed by the rent arrears. Yeah? So bear that in mind. It's very important that you are in honour. Yeah, there's two sides of the equation. Yeah, your side is that you pay your rent, and often I say to people who are a bit hesitant in doing a claim, your obligation is paying the rent. If you don't pay the rent, trust me, 2 weeks might go by before you don't hear anything, and then after 2 weeks they'll be writing to you big time. Yeah, and they'll be on your case. And then after about, 8 months, perhaps, there'll be court hearings. Okay. However, on the other side, they've got a responsibility to make sure that your accommodation is in good condition and in good order and not in disrepair. So they should not be dragging their heels in sorting out that repair. Yeah. They should be on it as sharpish as they would be onto you, sharpish if you didn't pay the rent. So that's, you will not get evicted because the landlord has left or, allowing you to live in shoddy conditions. Yeah. A lot of the problems obviously is to do with damp and mold, and that is a major problem because I've found that people have had respiratory issues, and especially their children respiratory issues. It's quite amazing when I hear it all the time, over and over and over. Got breathing problems, my nose is blocked or whatever. Yeah. So because I'm hearing it frequently, I know that this is an issue. Some solicitors are quite finicky, and they want to see structural issues to the whole building before they want to take it on. What I would say to you is that if you do speak with a solicitor, and for whatever reason they say they're not taking you on, don't just collapse and say, well, I'm not doing this, I've tried that process, it never ever worked. That is stupid. That's like going into a restaurant, ordering a food, not being happy with the food, and saying, I'm never, ever, ever going into another restaurant again. So I went in once and the food was horrible. What it means is you don't go back to that restaurant. You got to shop around. So sometimes when you have a solicitor on the phone and speak, and you haven't met the relevant criteria, okay, and it's to do with the level of repairs, you just leave it to us and we will try and place you with a solicitor who will take you on. Yeah? Don't close your options because it's not costing you anything. Some people think, this is too good to be true. How can it be no win, no fee? Yeah, how comes I don't pay anything? It's very, very simple. Okay, first of all, and the most important thing is, moi, do the survey. We will do the survey, we will gather the evidence. Some tenants are quite rightly dissatisfied with living in the condition what they've got, and they carry out some repairs. Unfortunately, I call that hide the body. If you're going to do your own internal type repairs, take pictures of what it was like before you start carrying out repairs. Because I've had people come around to me saying, I've had really bad mold and damp, but I managed to clean it up. Here, this is where the mold and damp was. I'm like, this looks in pristine condition. You've hidden the body. You've hidden the evidence. We have no proof. And oftentimes, the issue is structural anyway. It's internal. So you know that as soon as you've maybe done the damp and mold, it's going to come back anyway. It's not cured. You've just delayed the situation. So before you do that repair, take a picture, store it, file it. Yeah. So something to bear in mind. Now, what tends to happen is that I would do a survey. That survey would be quite in depth, and I will write a report out, and I will send that report to the headquarters. This is the main company. It's like a brokerage. That brokerage is regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority or is under the solicitors regulatory authority. Okay, and they will then allocate you to a solicitor who they feel will take on your case based on the report which has been given. As I said to you before, that's for whatever reason when they speak to you, might not go ahead with it. Don't worry, don't despair. Be open, let somebody else. That's it. Now, if for whatever reason they do the case and they don't win it, what the solicitors do is they take out an insurance policy. They take out their own funds. It's a small amount. Yeah. Let's say there's a strong probability that they're going to win the case. Let's say it's 90, 95%. And then that 5% is an element of risk where they might not win the case. Well, they've taken out an insurance already, so that if they fail, they get covered on the insurance for their costs. Yeah. Now, when they do the insurance, they actually write it out in your name, but you don't pay for it. It's your claim is being insured. Yeah, but you don't pay anything out of your pocket. But it's good for the solicitors because they're getting the volume of claims is such that if anyone falls out for whatever reason, it's quite rare, and they can absorb it within their overall costs. So don't worry about that. Yeah, your effort is simply answering the questions, signing the documents. Usually what happens is they will send you either a text and you just sign it with your finger and then click, 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 submit, or it might be an email. Well, once again, you'll sign it, then click, 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 submit. It's as simple as that. Very fast, very efficient. That sets the wheels in motion. Yeah. So that's the element of advice I can give you. Now, there is a situation which I've experienced and been experiencing recently, and I'm finding it very troubling. Okay. That experience is that there's been a certain demographic of people which sort of allows me into their home, which is a nice privilege. Then they start querying who I am. They start asking questions like, who are you? Or what is it you're doing? Blah, blah, blah. And literally it's an element of trust. And when people don't have that trust, it doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to get over the hump. And I've noticed it with a particular demographic of people. And it's always the same thing. Yeah? Coming home, they show you what all the problems are. And sometimes it's really bad. Badder than normal I've seen. You do the survey, you take the photographs, do the report. That takes time. It takes quite a bit of time. And then you submit it to the HQ, who then review it. And even when they review it, they won't always take it on board because they might think it's not strong enough. Okay, so when they've connected you with a solicitor, they do feel it's got very, very strong probability of being taken on. So when people just turn around and say, oh, I'm not interested anymore, or I don't want to do the repair, or oh, actually the landlord's going to come around next week and sort it all out. And these are sort of lies what you've been told. Yeah, it's based down on trust. Yeah, for whatever reason, because of me, who I am, yeah, I leave it for you to guess why they just don't want to go ahead. They've got the issue, got the problem, they've been living with it for many years, but for some reason, they don't want to go ahead. Yeah, and this has happened, unfortunately, this has happened on 4 separate occasions. And given how random it is for me knocking on doors, I don't know who's going to answer the door. Okay, so given how random it is, and yet there's a commonality, the type of people, ethnic demographic, who will let me do all the report and then just go around and say, oh, nah, don't want to go through with it. It's very troubling because now when I knock on the door and I'm entered, the back of my mind, I'm thinking, am I wasting my time here? Am I going to waste a good hour and a half an hour doing the survey, and then another maybe hour writing it all up for them to just turn around and say, I've changed my mind? Yeah. Please think about it. If you want to do it, then say you want to do it and commit to it. If you don't want to do it, you don't trust me, you don't think I can do it, or if you think there's some con, just say so there and then, right at the very beginning, and I'll just say, no problem, bye-bye. I knock on lots of doors. Many people don't answer. Many people say they're not interested. And that's fine. But it's when the people make like they are interested, and you see that they've got issues, but they don't want to resolve those issues simply because their own prejudice, then yeah, that's an issue. That's it, really. That's all we're going to say on this particular airways. In other words, what's the first bit? Help yourself. And if you think that you know what I'm talking about, just pause for thought. Yeah. If you don't trust me, then tell me there and then. Don't let me do a report and send it all off to people, whatever, and you suddenly change your mind. If you don't trust me, then just don't do it. As simple as that. Okay. If you found this little tips useful, please like, subscribe, and comment below. And I'll see you in the next video. Well, I do have a website, which if you do have issues, you either leave a comment and I'll direct you, or it should be in the description below my website, where you can put your details in. We can do, we can see if we can help you, because we can actually do so.